Okay, so we're just gonna finish this off with one super easy choke. Come over here and double unders again. So as long as you're following the meat hook principle here, keeping those hips heavy by lifting our hips, that's the key. It's not about extending your legs, that doesn't do anything. It's about extending your legs and then using that to lift your hips off the mat so he carries my weight, okay? Now, once he's carrying my weight, I switch to the double collar control to try and break his posture. And this also serves as sort of like a barrier here, because now if he tries to connect his hands, my elbows are blocking his hands from connecting. So he'd have to try and go over my arms to connect, which would be much less effective because I can open my elbows up and stop him from actually breaking the position. So what you'll find is he's going to be trying to posture up to get leverage to try and get that angle so he can get under my hips again. But if I have these grips, I have a nice little choke opportunity whenever this happens. This also works a lot when they're tucking their head and then they look up at the clock or the scoreboard or anyone else. As soon as they look up, there's an opportunity for a choke here. And then there's also the opportunity when he tries to posture to lift me, okay? So what I'm gonna do is I'm not grabbing behind his neck. I'm grabbing about like just below his ear line. So from my angle, like for you as the person on bottom, you should see your thumb like right below his earlobe. That's where you want to have your thumb bone, okay? That's going to allow you to lock right on the arteries as you kind of go in. If you go too low, it's not going to be tight enough, or it's just going to get right on his esophagus, which is very dangerous actually, so you don't want to do that. You want to make sure it's on the sides of his neck, and I'm using this part, this short part of my bone here is going right into the arteries on both sides. And I'm bending my wrists like I'm trying to put my palms on his shoulders. So it goes like this, not like this or like this. It bends in and then turns here. Once I do that, I can feel that my thumbs are on his neck here. He doesn't have an opportunity to reach my wrists to defend, right? He could try, but he's not really going to be able to pull them off. And then I'm just going to reinforce it with my legs. So I lift my legs up from his biceps and I lock them over my hands. So I don't have to squeeze with my hands, I just squeeze with my legs like this. And doesn't take a lot of pressure. You don't want to like really squeeze tight. You just lock up, and they usually start to panic at this point when they realize they messed up, but he just can't get his head out because I'm locked underneath his jaw. So there's no way for him to slip his head out. He can't stack me because the more he stacks me, the more tighter the choke gets. And if he tries to lift me up or stand up to his feet, his head's not going anywhere and the choke will maintain. Go ahead and stand all the way to your feet, just keep your hips bent. So if I'm here, I can still finish this choke, no problem. So this is one that when you're defending, you're kind of just constantly looking for that opportunity for him to lift his jaw. So if he knows about the position, he's going to keep his chin tucked. But even still, I can get my hands underneath and just like make it dangerous for him. And that's usually enough for people to start backing out of the position if they know the choke. If they don't know the choke, the second they look up, you just lock it on real tight. Okay? That's a super simple, highly effective choke. I've tapped so many people with that in competition. Anytime someone goes double unders, I'm always just following the meat hook principle, trying to keep my legs heavy and fishing for that choke. I don't even go for the escapes because the choke is so effective from there. So if you can get the choke, awesome. If you'd rather go for the escapes, do it. But they're both very, very effective, depending on what you want to do. Any questions? All right, 3, 2, 1. The esophagus, you want to be on the sides of his neck, but not too high. If you go too high on the sides of his neck, it's going to be on the muscle, and that's not going to choke him. So it's like at this 45-degree angle, kind of on the front of his neck is what you're looking for. Perfect hand positioning. Little lower, yeah.